بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا رحمة للعالمين أبي القاسم والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. All praise and glory belongs to Allah, the creator of this universe, the one who has given one type of knowledge which is innate, which a creation of his would have as it is manufactured. So, and then there is that type of knowledge that a creation can acquire through power of choice and the rest of the tools that he has given. The acquired knowledge there's only two creations that have that ability. That is men and jinn. Animals can acquire certain habits if they're trained, but it's not going to be classified as knowledge. The DNA that the animals have, that is the innate knowledge that God has given to them. So whatever that they needed in order to be that animal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given that knowledge to that creation of his. So when a fry of a salmon is born, it knows every single thing that it needs to know to live its life to its end. So it's not going to need any more knowledge, or if he gets ill, he's not going to go to the doctor. If he has any other problems, he's not going to need anybody. Okay, so whatever knowledge that the salmon fry needs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to it. And the reason I'm telling you about the salmon is that it's born in fresh water, but it lives in salt water. Okay. So it goes upstream, yeah. So it takes from the Atlantic or from the Pacific, it goes through the freshwater rivers and streams, and it ends up that particular point where it hatched. So, like in its DNA, what is coded is the whole location, the GPS location, or the global positioning system is something we have. But the fry actually uses, or the salmon, when it's ready to continue its progeny, it actually goes through the magnetic fields of the earth. It just chooses that magnetic field and just follows that field and keeps on going to the point where it hatched. And even the scientists today, they are discovering that human beings also have the capacity to feel the magnetic field of the earth, where you could eventually, if that sense is developed and the medical science takes us forward, we could just have, like, a computer tell us, okay, or our body tell us, this is the magnetic field that you have to follow, and you would just follow that, and you won't need a GPS. You'll just follow the magnetic field wherever it goes, and you'll get to your destination. So the amazing part about the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that there is a whole package of knowledge which is instinctive, that is given to the creation. And a person might end up living their whole life just through that package and not realize. Meaning a human being lived their whole life and all what they lived from was that package of instinct, which was their DNA, which their life would have amounted to be no different than a life of any other creation of Allah, as animals or plants or anything else. Because all those animals did, they also lived their life through instinct, with the innate knowledge of what to do, what not to do, all of that programmed into their DNA. So what you see around you is actually, majority of the people, they end up living an instinctive life. Okay? There is a difference between living in an instinctive life and a life of choice. Okay? Instinctive life, if I can project it in your minds, is like, I don't know, you've seen an elephant. So consider the elephant as to be your instinct. Okay? And the rider on the elephant like your choice. Okay? So this elephant, instinctive living is, this elephant's reins are not in the control of that rider. So guess what's going to happen? Okay, what's going to happen? What is this elephant going to do? If the rider does not have the reins of the elephant, what is this elephant going to do?
It's going to go by.
It's going to go by everywhere, trample everything, destroy everything, no matter what it is, feed, all of this, right? And who's going to get the blame? The rider. If there was no rider, then okay, fine. The elephant did whatever the elephant did. It's an animal, it's instinct, didn't know any better, did what it did. But if there is a rider there, and the person knows that this rider had the choice to control the reins of that elephant, then the blame is not going to be of the elephant, it's of the rider. This is instinctive living. This elephant is our instinctive thoughts, our instinctive emotions, our instinctive imagination. Okay? So this is very different. And if it gets too difficult, you're always welcome to interrupt or say that I don't understand. Okay. So we have instinctive thoughts, instinctive emotions, and instinctive imagination. So do the animals. Yeah, they're finding out that animals actually dream as well. They have emotions. In their imagination, things, they come up. They are frightened of things. They have dreams. They get woken up at night. So these three sort of instinctive thoughts, emotions, and imagination, we classify ourselves to be different than animals, but they do also have that. Instinctively, God has given them that. Right? When we don't control these instinctive emotion, thoughts, and imagination, this elephant is without reins. And that life is without choice. Now this life is based on instinct. Okay. But the reason why we would still be blamed is because you still had choice. Just like that rider could have taken the reins of those and guided the elephant wherever it wanted to go. Right? Or he wanted to go, or she wanted to. Is this clear? Okay, now building a metropolitan city, or the cell phones that we have, of TV, all the technological advancements, is this based on instinctive life or a life of choice? Instinctive life. The reason why I say instinctive life is because in instinct of every animal, there is this instinct to seek comfort. Whatever is the most comfortable way, the animal will find it to have food. Right? So comfort is actually in the instinct of the animal. Therefore, it will run away from cold, it will run away from heat, it will run away from, hurricanes, winds, rain. It will go find that cave to find comfort. Okay. With me so far? Comfort is actually part of the instinct of an animal. Okay, so what did we do? We said, okay, it's difficult for me to get up and change the channel of the TV, right? Because there used to be those like knob ones, and it would take some time, and UHF and VHF, right? It would have that. So the instinct kicked in and said, you know what? There must be a better way to actually do that, right? So then that animal devised a remote. Right? So I purposely use the word animal now. So that animal devised a remote so that its instinctive comfort can be satisfied. It does not have to get up from the couch and turn the dial. Oh yeah, that too. It used to have a long wire, you had to like take it out and then use it. But now, if you keep looking at it, like, okay, so the evolution of that remote went through that, to that, to that, to that, to the point where now it's voice activated. You don't even have to press a button. You don't have to worry about finding the remote, because that was also a problem, You're on the couch, you can't find the remote. So it's like, what to do? Right? Just have it voice activated, right? And then the animal is going to go further and it's going to say, even that is too difficult. I still have to use, So it should be just telepathically. I will put a chip in here. It's all electrical impulses. I have a chip on the TV, I think, and it changes the channel. Which I think theoretically you could still do that right now. There is electrodes that you can get that can connect to a TV, but it will just be a wire, and you could change the channels by your thoughts. So regardless of all of the technological advancement that you're going to see of human beings, it all was based on instinctive living. It was just satisfying your instinct. Okay, I'll give you another question. Borders, is that instinctive living or living with choice? It's instinctive living.
Protect your nation from the outside.
Protect your territory.
Yeah.
The animals, they will put their scent in a certain area, and they will tell other animals that this is my yellow line. So you do not cross that. If you cross that, you're going to be in trouble. What have we done? We've built the yellow line. Canada and America, it has a yellow line there. Right? So it's very funny to me every time I drive over, like it's the same bridge. Okay? It's not like two bridges. It's Peace Bridge, right? It's the same bridge. I'm driving and it's the same road. Okay? It's the same road, and as soon as I get to this yellow line, I cross over it. Now I'm no longer in Canada. And it's the same bridge, it's the same road, it's the same land. If you continue forward on it, there is no breaking of it. And they asked me, okay, in order for you to cross this yellow line, you need to show us your passport. Are you like the animals that we are, or you're different? And if you are not like the animal that we are, you better have a visa to enter. Oh, you are just like us? Okay, please come in. Welcome to America. It's no different than an animal making up a territory with a scent, drawing up a line to protect its own, right? Food and shelter, whatever you want to call it, from another animal. And that's why now in US as well, the people from Mexico, they are now classified as a invasive species. And bigots and fascist people are coming up and demeaning them to that point. But just think like this is like evasive species like any other evasive species that comes in an ecosystem and destroys it. They're destroying our ecosystem. And with all of the technological advancement, the human being has still not been able to get off that package of instinct that God has given to every animal and creation. It's gotten worse. Yeah. Because even if it was just based on the instinctive living, a lot of the animals, when they are, they are fed, they don't do anything to the other. The lion is fed, the deer can be walking around it, and then it's not going to say anything. Because it's fed, it's done. It's not hungry anymore. But a human being never gets satisfied. Now I'll tell you the reason why it's that way. Okay? But if you just keep looking at the instinctive way, the point that I'm trying to put across is regardless of all of the technological advancement that you will see right now or in the future with the AI or with the medical advancement of stem cell research or cloning, or any of those things, never ever think as an elevation of humanity or human beings, that we have gotten better. That is not the criteria. Okay, don't get impressed by that we have become more civilized. That's not the criteria. Don't think that humanity has reached a peak. That's not the criteria. Okay? The reason why I'm telling you this is that this is brought that Islam is against civilization. What is brought is that Islam is against civilization, Islam is against technological advancement, Islam is jealous of the West because they have more technological advancement and more sort of quote unquote freedom and everything else. Right? Why would Islam be jealous of all of that? Islam is not jealous of if you were to utilize the God-given knowledge of instinct to get yourself to that point. All of the sciences that humanity has is actually inspired by the divine knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that was given to the prophets. And who told humanity how to make iron soft? Who told humanity? It was told to humanity by Hazrat Dawood ﷺ that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told how to melt or to soften the iron, to utilize it. And we say that in our du'as as well. Or the one who got the iron to be soft for, right? Hazrat Dawood ﷺ. You looking at me, you never read that dua? We read it all the time. We read it last night too, and we're going to read it probably today too. I mean, the way that all of these things that you have in sciences is actually all inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to those specific chosen individuals that were going to give this knowledge to humanity by living a life of choice so that the destruction does not come by this knowledge. Islam does not want an atomic bomb. It's against that. Utilizing the power of the atom to kill the innocent. It's against that. The divine inspired knowledge was that, where you have the atom, you can break it and you have the energy and you can have your power generation. But when a man living an instinctive life got that knowledge, made an atomic bomb. And where Islam goes and says that that's not right, is that if you're going to keep living instinctive life, then this knowledge you're going to utilize to destroy and destruct humanity. And that's where the problem is. You see? Islam is not against technology. Islam is not against the sciences. Sciences, I understand to be the divine knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon humanity through the chosen prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or chosen beings. I mentioned to you that Newton's law of what is it? Newton's law of motion wala. Yeah.
Body in motion stays in motion until it's saturated.
Well, that's one of them. And for every action, that's I think the third law, right? Yeah, third law. That's not the third law of Newton. This is the third law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Newton discovered it. How can Islam be against the laws of God? The law of gravity is the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you utilize the law of gravity to, for your own self, you're utilizing something that God has given. Why would Islam be against the laws of physics or chemistry or sciences or IT or 011, 000111100? That's also the binary language, whichever it is also inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why would Islam be against that? The Muslims' books were the ones that were taught in the universities for centuries. For 2 centuries, the medical sciences the authors were written by Muslims. The books were written by Muslims. If you go back through chemistry, physics, biology, any of the sciences, you keep going, okay, whose teacher was this, whose teacher was this, whose teacher was this, whose teacher was this, you will get to a teacher called Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu. And if you go back, okay, who was the teacher from Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu, you'll have like no one. Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu, if he had a teacher, everybody should know. In history, everybody should know who's the teacher of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu. Everybody should know. And history is void of the name of the teacher of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu. History narrates 6, 8, 10,000 students of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu, but does not have a name of the teacher of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu. What history does have, the name of his father, Imambargah alayhi salatu wasalam, who divinely inspired Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu with the whole knowledge that, again, if you keep on going to the chain, it gets to the Holy Prophet as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when you go through that chain of infallibles, you'll find that there was no teachers, they were all divinely inspired in their knowledge. And they had that divinity even when they were 5-year-old or even born. Right? Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam saying that I could tell you, if human beings had the capacity, I would tell you how to take light out of the water, electricity or powerhouse. Who taught Imam Ali? Who taught him the dynamics of dynamo, like where if with motion you can actually take out electricity or light? That's 1400 years ago. Who was the teacher of Imam Ali? If we say the teacher of Imam Ali was the Holy Prophet, who was the teacher of Holy Prophet? Even if you want to go by that logic, who was the teacher of the Holy Prophet? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in reality, all of the knowledge that the Holy Prophet had was taught to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Holy Prophet taught the same knowledge that was taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. Imam Ali taught the same knowledge that was taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Imam Hasan alayhi salatu wasalam, and so forth, till the 6th Imam and the rest of the Imams. So all the rest of the things are just discovered. How can Islam be against knowledge? Islam is not against all of that. What Islam is against is that you're not letting human beings get out of that package of instinct. Yeah. You're not facilitating that environment in which they can get out of that package of instinct where you're now getting them to be the same as any other animal. And therefore, what you find today is that people will. We have a neighbor, and she comes up and she had a little dog in her lap, and say, "Oh, I would like to introduce you to my daughter." Like, where is her daughter? I was like, where is the daughter? And I realized that she meant the dog that she had in her lap. That's my daughter, that I'm the mommy. She's like the grandmother. The relations were built by this pet, which now the society has brought it to the point where now it can be called a daughter or a son. Where the master has become actually the slave. I always wonder when people are walking the dogs, who has the leash? Yeah, who has the leash? Who's the one controlling? This poor person wakes up 5 o'clock in the morning, he has to take the dog out. He's half asleep, walking around. Who's walking who? Comes to the point where, has a plastic bag in there, and I see the person doing, oh my God, like, what is that? And then it has to carry it around. I just wonder, where have we gotten? And people think that this is the height of humanity. And if you talk about common sense and you talk about, get out of this instinctive package and start making choices for yourself. Live a life of choice, not of your instincts. Elevate yourself above the instincts. So far humanity has lived through their instincts. And even our religion we have made through that same instinct. But instead of becoming the slave of religion, we have made the religion as our slave. That's instinctive living. Just because I can utilize, look, an animal wants food, right? Animal wants food. And what happens to us if we want food? We have to go get a job, right? We have to go get a job. True or not? So far with me or yes? No? Gone? You need a job, right? So they come up, okay, Maulana, can you please tell us a dua that we can recite, that we can get a job? So yeah, Maulana tells you, recite Surah Waqia, for example. Now what is the person doing? They're reciting Surah Waqia for what? So that they can learn what is in Surah Waqia, so they can become the slave of Surah Waqia? No. So they can make Surah Waqia their slave, so that they can get a job. Now is this not in traditions that if you were to recite Surah Waqia, you will get a job or your sustenance will increase? Yes, of course it's in traditions. Yeah, dependence, yeah. But that was for the level of humanity that takes, job and increasing in their sustenance, that they should be motivated to recite Surah Waqia. Just like you tell your kids, if you fast, I'll give you like $100. Yeah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, okay, recite Surah Waqia, I'll give you a job. Right? But the instinctive living person, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also knows that humanity is going to live through that instinct, should have gotten motivated and does get motivated. But for how long are we going to stay like that? When are we going to get out of that?
So would you say instincts is based on emotion reaction?
Instinct is actually based on satisfaction of that instinct, right? So when the sugar level goes down, I need food. In order for me to get food, I need a job. In order for me to get food, job, money, boss, degree, engineering, doctor, IT, marriage, wife. You go through the whole cycle of a human being. It's all based on satisfaction of that instinct. Yeah.
So would you say that that be satisfaction of the society would be what we need Allah?
The society should facilitate the environment that human beings should mature enough to get out of this instinctive living and start living of choice. And when the Imam of the time comes, the reason why you will find justice and peace and humanity will be just like sort of like in heaven is because human beings will be given the facilitation of the environment in which they will choose their emotions. They will choose their thoughts. They will choose what to imagine. It will not be based on the satisfaction of their instinct. It will be with choice. And when it comes to our religion, if we don't start getting out of that, I mean, I don't know how long we're going to be stuck with this childish approach to religion. Just like a child would get motivated if you tell them, I'll give you $100 to fast for a day, just like that. An adult gets motivated, if I fast for a whole day, I'll get that particular tree in heaven, or that particular river in heaven, or that particular house in heaven. There's nothing wrong with that. But what is wrong is that we are getting to the end of time. We're in the Akhir Zaman, where humanity is coming to an end, right? The end of days. And still we are stuck there. After 124,000 prophets, the best of his representatives of those prophets, with all of their teachings. Imam Ali saying that worship is, one is the worship of the slave that does in the fear of Allah, the other is the worship of a businessman that does transactions with Allah, and then there is that worship of a free man that does not worship Allah for fear of hell or for acquiring the greed of heaven. He worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he finds him to be worthy of worship. He chooses his master as God. He leaves his instinctive master and chooses Allah as his master. When he says, La ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, he's proclaiming that no one is my master. And no one is worthy of being my master other than Allah. And we've taken Imam Hussein and Imam Masumin through that instinctive living. Instead of making Imam Hussein as our Imam and our master, we have done the opposite. Instead of listening to what Imam Hussein said and doing what Imam Hussein did and what his companions did, what do? We go to the Zari of Imam Hussein and give him the list that we have of our instinctive livings. I need a job, I need a son, I need a daughter, I need to get married, I need to get rid of this disease, that disease. Is what Imam Hussein came here for? That he takes care of all of the lists that you take to Karbala? Did the companions of Imam Hussein give him a list? Did they say to Imam Hussein, first do this, then we will come to you? They flocked to him because of the love and compassion that they had. They sacrificed their jobs, they sacrificed everything that they had. Did they want anything in return? Imam Hussein had said to them, I'll give you heaven, you go, you can go, they're after my blood, not yours, you go. Did they leave? Did they wanted heaven in Karbala? They said to Imam, he said, if we were to be brought back 1,000 times, and if we were to cut into pieces, and then our pieces were to be burnt, we would still not leave you. They chose to stay in Karbala. It was not their instinct. The ones who lived instinctive life stayed in Kufa, in Medina, in Makkah. And they will be raised on the day of judgment with the tyrant Yazid and Shimr and all of them. The mothers who decided to save their sons, and the daughters who decided to save their fathers, and sisters who decided to save their brothers, and left the representative of Imam Hussain all alone. But he had to be martyred. Alone, thirsty, broken teeth. Until we are living an instinctive life and we don't start choosing our emotions, choosing our thoughts, choosing our imagination, we will never tap into that innate knowledge which God has given to a human being, and that is fitrat Allah allati fatara an-nasa alayha la tabdila li khalqillah. It is the nature of God that is inside of you and I. We have that godly conscience, we have that godly nature inside of us that He has given to us, and there is no change in His creation. The whole test is from that package of that instinct of an animal with the package of the godly conscience, of the godly nature. You decide who's your master. If you decided this, your religion will still fall in that same realm. And in the end, you will go to heaven or you will go to hell. But what you will miss out on is that fitrah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given, to be able to get to that point where you could say something to be and it becomes. Where you will miss out is being the companions of Imam Hussain. What we will miss out on is being the companions of the Imam of the time. Even with our instinctive living, we seem like as if we have no place of Islam in our lives. You know? You need Islam even in that instinctive living package that you've got. You're hungry, instinct is telling you you're hungry. What food to eat? Oh, I'll go eat at McDonald's and I'll just say Bismillah Rahman. You can't do that. Oh, that's okay. Even if they're selling alcohol, I'll go in there and eat. It's just vegetarian I'm eating. Or it's actually a halal restaurant and it's selling alcohol. It's okay, I'll go eat. It's okay, I haven't taken out khums, but I'll go and buy whatever food and shelter for my wife and for my kids and I'll utilize it. It's okay, it's not. What's the big deal? It says this sentence, what's the big deal? What the big deal is, you'll find out tonight. With all of the haram that's gone inside of us, with all of the sins that we have committed, here comes the night which is the most precious night that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. And we will enter into it like dead and we'll get out of it like dead. We'll enter into it the same way we entered into it, and we will get out of it the same way as we entered. Or if you want, we'll see it in namaz. In prayers, you will think of everything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why is that? Because you are living an instinctive life. Your thoughts controlled you, your emotions controlled you, your imagination controlled you. Now that you stand, now guess who's going to be in control? If you controlled your thoughts and emotions and imagination, you were the master of it, then you would have stood in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not have a single thought of anybody else but Him. have to pay my mortgage, I 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 have to pay my mortgage. Guess when you're going to stand in namaz, what's going to go in your head? Yeah. I don't know where my wallet is. I don't know where my wallet is. Right? Guess what you're going to find when you're praying namaz? What are you going to find in namaz? Allah. You were looking for wallet. You were never looking for Allah. I'm included in this, okay? So whenever I told you and I say you, I'm also included. You were looking for the wallet. You know, people come up, you know, everything that I've lost, I end up finding in namaz. Well, of course you're going to find it in namaz because you were looking for that. If you were looking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you stood there, you would have found Him. You know, this one person read behind the Maulana, and it was, I think, Maghrib. After he finished Maghrib, this person comes up to Maulana and he says, you know, I think today you recited 2 rakat Maghrib. Maulana said, no, I think I recited 3 rakats. He said, no, I think you recited 2 rakats. He said, okay, can you tell me how you came up to this, that I recited 2 rakat? I said, because when you finish, when you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, I'm able to finish all of my credits and debits of my shop. Yeah. Like all of the sales I got and all the money that went out, I'm able to account, to do the bookkeeping of the whole day when you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And today, I was not able to do that. So therefore, you did not recite 3 rakats, you recited 2 rakat. Because if you had recited 3 rakat, I would have done my bookkeeping, I would have been done. But this today, it was incomplete. And we live our life this way. Get to be 70-year-old, 80-year-old, Hazrat Malakul Maut ﷺ comes and says, let's go. Say, where? Home. Home? This is my home. What are you talking about? This is my home. This is not your home. You came from Allah and you haven't been home for 70 years. I've come to take you back. Come back with me. Come to your house. This is not our home. We came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to go back to Him. When somebody goes, this is what you say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Live a life of choice. That's your potential. Be aware of it. This is what your potential is. Utilize it. Develop it. You can become the best of the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody has been blessed the soul that has the potential of the nature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do, I do. This holy month is one of the best times, and this night is going to be the best of times. If you were to utilize it, the worship on this night is better than 80 years of worship. The only night that comes second to this was the night of Shab Berat. That was 60 years. This one is 80 years. This 80 years told to you was to kick in that instinctive package of motivation. That comfort. The satisfaction of that comfort zone, that if I could get to this night and have 80 years of worship, I would be laughing. I just worshiped one night. And it's better than 1,000 nights, 1,000 months. So I'll get 80 years out of it. This is still instinctive satisfaction. Come to this night knowing that you don't care about 80 years of worship. You have found God to be worthy of worship, and every night is a night of Qadr. That's your potential. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us give us the opportunity to ask for our forgiveness of the sins that we have committed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the worship. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from the friends and the followers of our Imam. May come as soon as possible. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal-Asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.